What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to TD Fans Talk, home of the real Miami Dolphin fans, right here at Bleacher Report. All right, listen, ladies and gentlemen, we got a lot to talk about, a lot of information coming out of minicamp with the Miami Dolphins. But before we get started, shout out to all those who are watching on Bleacher Report. Make sure you let your friends and family members know about every Wednesday night where we cover the Miami Dolphins, all the latest news, and boy, do we have some news to cover. All right, we're going to break it all down right here. We're going to talk about Mike McDaniel being a little snappy lately, it seems like. We're going to talk about Zach Wilson. How is he looking in minicamp? We got to chat about Ramsey, Jonnu, and Zach Zeeler. All three have huge implications of what's going on with the team. And also Tua talking about how he feels in his heart that the culture has shifted within the locker room. And last but not least, we're going to touch on a potential Dylan Gabriel to Miami conversation. We'll break all that down right here on Bleacher Report. Again, thank you all for tuning in. Make sure you hit that like button and that fire button on your way in the building. All right. All right, let's go ahead and get rocking and rolling, ladies and gentlemen. First and foremost, the Miami Dolphins are a new and improved team. This is what some people believe right now because there is a new culture in Miami, okay? Now, when I say there's a new culture in Miami, what does that absolutely mean? First of all, we have to identify what the old culture was, okay? And based off of, hearing from people in the know and a lot of insiders and writers and people on the beat, the previous culture was one where, everybody may have not have been coming on time, people not holding each other accountable, lying about things, like John may have said today, well, Chubb, may have said today, where it wasn't as it seemed. Also, no, like I said before, no accountability, no one holding, really getting up into certain people that are causing the problems. But there's a new feel, and Tua feels it. McDaniel's talking about it. Other players are talking about it, that there is a new feel in Miami of potential. And I want to use the word potential because we've heard all this before. We've heard some of this same lingo verbiage before. So we want to make sure that we're very particular and not make it a fact, but more so potentially what's being said, because we've been duped before, okay? Believing all the words that have been said, but was it actually true, right? So, but they say, accountability is in the building. People are up and at it. People are on time. People are doing what they need to do. And there's a new feel, which some believe that makes the team new and improved. But I want to push the brakes a little bit. In that area, the team may be new and improved. But how do you replace a Teron Armstead, Calais Campbell, Javon Holland, potentially Jalen Ramsey? And if we don't get our act together, we'll be talking about Jonnu Smith and Zach Zeeler as well. And we're going to touch on that next. So from a personnel standpoint, no one in their right mind is going to believe that this is a new and improved team. But from an accountability and work ethic and drive standpoint, it could very well be. And can that make up in the laps in the other areas and actually make it an overall better team? I can't answer that question for anyone, and anyone who answers it, you're just estimating or guesstimating. At the end of the day, the Dolphins are going to have to go out on the field, prove it, and show to the world that this is a new team. Until that happens, allegedly is the word that we like to use in this situation, okay? All right, so let's continue here because we got to talk about these big guys, these big fish guys that are being discussed out here in the media sphere. First and foremost, let's go ahead and wipe out the obvious, which is Jalen Ramsey. I want to wipe that one out because let's call it what it is. Ramsey's on his way out, but the Dolphins just ran into a snag, okay? They've been talking with Pittsburgh. Some other teams might have inquired. But with Jair Alexander, with the Green Bay Packers being released recently, it's probably going to make life a little bit more difficult for the Miami Dolphins because now there's another great corner in the league that's available coming off of injury, not healthy, that might be cheaper than Ramsey right now. that might get shipped off or signed before him, before we can trade Ramsey. But that makes the market smaller for Ramsey. Because if you may have had 1, 2, 3, 4 teams interested in Ramsey, it's always that one or maybe two. Okay, we want him, but we got to figure this out. But with Jair out there available, it could take away a strong, viable option, which means the Dolphins may lose leverage, which means the Dolphins may have to pay, more, sacrifice or concede more in a deal for Ramsey, in which I don't know if they're willing to do, but they have to do, because you can't have him on the roster with the current situation between him and McDaniel and other things. And this might get a little tricky for the Dolphins, man. With Jair Alexander, being available, that's a huge L for the Dolphins, because I don't think the Dolphins are going to get what they want. And now what they didn't want, but they were probably pondering on doing, is probably not going to happen either. So we got to keep our eye on the Jalen Ramsey situation. McDaniel continues to not really talk about it and just brush it off and like, oh, just, man, when it happened, it happened, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I ain't got time for that. Right? So he's gone. We know he's gone. Okay. I don't think there's a place for him in Miami anymore to play. All right. There's no fences to be mended or anything. That's it for Ramsey in Miami, in my opinion, unless something miraculously happens where we're all shocked, right? So it's just a matter of how much can the Miami Dolphins benefit from moving on from him, and it's not looking great. But we'll keep our eyes on that situation and report back next Wednesday if we have any more updates or if he's gone. Right. But let's move forward to Zach Zeeler. Listen, a lot of people are saying the Miami Dolphins need to do all they can to secure Zach Zeeler. I've already told you all last week. The thing with Zach Zeeler is he's a good tackle. He's definitely valuable. I love to have him on the team, but I'm not sure the checkbook is open like people think. I don't know if the Miami Dolphins checkbook is actually open like people think. Yeah, but Zach Zeeler's one of the better talents. He's about to be 30, but he's not 30 yet, or unless he is, and I'm mistaken. But you got to re-sign him. Well, I think that we're in a critical point in Dolphins in the front office with the Dolphins. I think this is a critical point. So a lot of people are like, hey, this organization needs to protect itself. They need to, try to have a great year this year so that we can move forward with our current situation. But if we don't have a great year and we bomb it out, man, McDaniel need to be gone. Greer need to be gone. We need to clean house and bring in another general manager and another coach if they can't show great success this year. So, and I'm in agreement with that, right? But what comes with that is what you have to consider. You have to think, if you're preparing for the future potentially, you do not want to set your next GM and your next head coach up for failure and already put them at a deficit. And that's why, and this has not been confirmed, ladies and gentlemen, it has not been proven, but I have a firm belief in me that checkbook was closed. And Mike McDaniel and Chris Greer has been given the ultimatum and said, listen, we've already given you for 3 years everything you've asked for. No more. You have what you have. You need to work with it. We're not opening the checkbook anymore. Show us you can work with what you built already. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the result of what they built. This is the result. So this isn't what you inherited. This is your result. So therefore, you got to go in. You need to show us what you can do with what you already built. Ramsey, that has nothing to do with us. You built that. That's on you. You brought him in. All these guys, Teron Armstead retiring, this is your regime. So I'm not giving you crazy more money for extensions and things. Deal with what you got. Try to convince them guys to play on their current deal. And if you can't, then you might need to trade them. You don't think they want to re-sign Jonnu to extend him? He got 2-3 more good years in him. But it was the Dolphins who reached out to other teams and let them know Jonnu's available. It was the Dolphins. It wasn't Jonnu saying, give me some more money. And if you can't, trade me. No report said that. The report specifically said it was the Dolphins who initiated trade conversations to move him. Why else would they be moving Jonnu? Because giving him another 2 years of guarantees, he's going to be good for 2 more years, I believe. Give him a 3-year deal, guarantee 2, make him happy. Let's go. But they're not. They initiated the trade conversation. That shows you something is brewing in Miami to where my hypothesis of it is they closed the checkbook, said, deal with what you have. If you show success with this, next year we'll talk about moving forward. If you can't show success with this, you may not even be here, and we're not going to do that to the next general manager and the next coach. Time will tell. Next week, tomorrow, tonight, a month from now, who knows? All of them get signed. You know how the Dolphins do. We don't know. But it would actually, unfortunately, and people don't want to hear this, it actually would be the smart thing to do. It would be the smart thing to do. But, how much faith do you have the Dolphins are going to do the smart thing? Because a lot of people, they've come to the conclusion, man, this team isn't built to win a Super Bowl this year. And then with Chubb gone next year, with Tyreek probably gone next year, probably even if Jalen Phillips have a good year, you're not going to be able to retain him probably unless you franchise tag. And that's big money now that these guys at his position are getting $40 million, 35 and 40. Which means next year we probably won't be a Super Bowl contending team. So when people say, you gotta extend them anyway, what they're not realizing is an extension of Zeeler, an extension of Jonnu means that they're going to probably get at least 2 years of guarantees, which is this year and next year. The 2 years of guarantees in which we probably won't be Super Bowl contenders. And then after that, when we're trying to be Super Bowl contenders, they need more guaranteed money then. And this is what people don't factor in. This is the same thing I said about Teron Armstead several years ago, Jalen Ramsey several years ago. I said this about all of these guys. Chubb, I said it about all of them. I said it about Xavier Howard 4 years ago. I said, over the next few years, I don't see this being a Super Bowl roster. So why are you going to extend these guys instead of just continuing to build through the draft and build your team? It may take a little longer, but you're building the wise way. But why would you extend these guys just to give them money in a window where we're not going to be Super Bowl bound? Now, we may be Super Bowl bound, shock the world, but, I'm just using logical. And this roster is one of the weaker rosters that we've had in several years. And we couldn't even win a playoff game with the loaded roster. Regardless of injuries or whatever you think, this roster still isn't quite there. Too many unprovens. And what we're asking everybody to just, it's possible, but not probable. So everybody that wants to re-sign these guys, all you're doing is saying, I want to have them on the roster for the next 2 years while we're probably not even Super Bowl contenders. And then when we are Super Bowl contenders, is that when we start to see the rust? Is that when Jonnu starts to not look the same or start to have older injuries? Same thing with Zeeler. And then you're stuck with that issue in cap space. This is what people aren't thinking about. So, and now if you have the fundamental belief that this roster is good enough to win a Super Bowl this year or next year, then that's a different story. I get it. It makes all the total sense of why you want to go ahead and give them the money. But a lot of people don't feel that way in the Dolphins community. They don't feel that way. And a lot of Dolphin fans are over we're trying to make the playoffs and that's progress. No, it's Super Bowl or bust. And not to win a Super Bowl, but you got to go at least an AFC championship game. At this point, the amount of money and resources that we spent to build this team, it has to be something great. And if it's not, then we're wasting time. We're wasting time. So that's the situation with the whole Jonnu and Zealer. We got to see what the team is going to do, but don't forget, Miami are the ones who actually reached out and said, hey, Jonnu's available, letting people know. Not Jonnu and his team. I'm just saying, okay? All right. Last but not least, we got to talk about this for a little bit. A rumor went out today, and it's just a rumor, but it's something to think about. It's intriguing. The potential of Miami trading for Dylan Gabriel. Why is this news? Because out of Brown's camp, I think it's very obvious if you've been following the situation. It looks like Shedeur Sanders might even be the best quarterback on the roster. So they floated out possibilities of, Dylan Gabriel, where could he go if that happens and, he's beat out or whatever it may be for a spot on the roster. And a lot of people are saying the Miami Dolphins. Now, we already brought in Quinn Ewers, but I got to be honest with you, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Why am I all for it? Because you want as many prospects as you possibly can at that position as insurance for Tua Tagovailoa if in the event anything goes wrong. Play, availability, whatever it may be. And the Dolphins need as many cracks at it as possible. Reports out of camp, Zach Wilson having moments of flash and having moments of not looking good. And that just puts us right back to where we've continued to be at the backup quarterback position instead of having someone in camp that's absolutely taking command of the offense and balling out within the scope of it. That's what we need. That's what we're looking for. And maybe Dylan Gabriel's that. Maybe Quinn Ewers is that. We don't know, but I'm all for, competition as the backup and or competition as the successor in the event things don't go well for Tua. It's that simple. So now Uncle Luke, Miami's own Uncle Luke, and if you don't know Uncle Luke, you got to go check him out. Miami, he pretty much he's out there on social media letting everybody know. No, you should be calling Cleveland to trade for Shedeur if they want to keep playing these games. And I'm all for that too. But that would create competition at the top, which Miami, for some reason, it seems like they're allergic to. They're allergic to that. So I'm all for, competition and things of that nature. But what I don't like the team has been doing is not really putting an emphasis on the backup position. Knowing, that our quarterback, the probabilities have hurt us. Yes, rapper Uncle Luke, for those asking in the chat. The probabilities have actually hurt us. So with that being said, the Dolphins, they need to really evaluate, things of that nature. And another thing, so many things have gone wrong for the team. So many things have gone wrong. And sometimes when so many things have gone wrong, that's a sign of the general manager making a lot of bad decisions. Because you got to play probabilities, man. You got to play the probabilities. And I know some people would ask, why are you so down on, your optimism of the team? You stated that the next 2 years, this doesn't look like a team that's going to be a Super Bowl contender. How do you know that? Why would you say that? Well, let me just break that down real quick before I get out of here. Here's what people need to understand. And shout out to Miami Herald's own Omar Kelly. He put a tweet out today and he said this, and I 1000% agree with him. He said, in today's NFL, you need an elite quarterback to win a Super Bowl. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, even though all of them haven't, they're at least in real contention of it, right? But you need one of those to win a Super Bowl. And if you don't have one of those, you need at least a top 10 quarterback. No, a top 12 quarterback is what he said. And you have to put a great historic defense and a great historic run game behind them, and they can win a Super Bowl, just like the Eagles did. Top 12 quarterback, good defense, great run game, you could win a Super Bowl. So why am I not so high on the Miami Dolphins being a real Super Bowl contender over the next 2 years? It's because I don't think we have a top 12 quarterback. And I think our quarterback is between maybe 13 to 20, 13 to 18, somewhere between there. Yeah, he may put up top 10 stats. I mean, I know top 20 quarterbacks that put up top 10 stats. But really being an overall top 12 quarterback, we don't have. Our guy, I believe, is between 13 and 18-ish. So even if you put the run game, even if you put the defense, you can be good, but you're still not going to be Super Bowl contender. Here's the problem with our team. This is what everybody's asking for the Miami Dolphins, because we have to stop making excuses about everything. I know there's a lot of reasons, but the more reasons there are on top of each other, they all start to look like excuses. For example, we need a better O-line. That's a reason. I get it. I get it. Oh, we need a better run game. I get it. It's inconsistent, right? Oh, the defense, man, they blow it too much. We need better defense. I get it. We need better defense. You know? But now we're starting to compound. We need a better O-line, a better run game, a better defense. Okay. All right. I get it. Okay. That's a lot to ask for, but okay. Let's try. Yeah. Now we need to stop getting hurt at the quarterback position. Okay. I get it. That's true. That's true. Now that's number 4. Yeah, but we need to stop getting hurt in the defense. Number 5, guys on the O-line getting hurt. Number 6, getting hurt in general. We need better coaching. Number 7, well, he got to call better plays. And number 8. So people don't realize how many things, like reasons, start to look like they're excuses now. They're excuses. The job has to get done. And you need people who are going to, you need aspects of your team that's going to compound problems around it. For example, fix the O-line for real, Miami. That's going to help you have a better run game, and it might help your quarterback a little bit. Some people be like, no, not a little bit, a lot. Like, all these people who keep saying, oh, look at the stats, look at Tua's stats. They're great, top 3 in stats and all this and that. So a great O-line is just supposed to make him the best quarterback in the NFL. Do you truly believe that? Will it help certain things? Yeah. But it's still not going to stop the things that he may not do well. And again, I'm the type of person that I've never paid attention to Tua's stats or performance in games that are against lesser competition. See, that every team almost has enough games against lesser competition that can get them in the playoffs every year. How does he do versus big competition? Good defenses, good teams. That's all that matters, because it's all that matters in the playoffs. And if you're poor in that area, you got to be better. This is why I always say this team got a lot of issues, and Tua ain't number 1. But he also can't be one of the issues. And that's what he is in the big games. Yeah, the O-line's bad in the big games, the run game, the defense, the injuries, but he's also bad. And I'm not talking about because of the O-line. There's bad decision making, bad plays where there is protection. There's all of that. So let's call it what it is. And this is why I'm not very high on the Miami Dolphins being Super Bowl contenders right now or next year, because there's too many things that have to be perfect around our quarterback in order for us to even think that we can be. We need a top 5 defense. We need a top 5 run game. We need a top 5 O-line. We need McDaniel to call plays like the best play caller in the league. Like, it's too many factors that the personnel doesn't match. So that's why. And this is why I would actually trade Jonnu and Zeller. Get what you can now and see what they can do with the team similar to what Flores had. And if they can at least get you to a wild card doing that, next GM, next head coach, let's go. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to Bleacher Report once again. Y'all hit that like button on your way out of the building. Hit that fire button. I appreciate everybody tuning in. Make sure you check us out every Wednesday evening after 6 p.m. I'll see y'all soon. Bleacher Report, we are out. Love y'all, love y'all, love y'all. And never forget, fins up no matter what. Emphasis on no matter what. Fins up. Let's go. I'll see you soon. Peace. I'm out.